about to cause a scene.
Welcome to the Greg Simoneau Show, coming to you live from the closed Big Lots at the Grove. Here's Greg Simoneau.
Them man never been ready for the chaos. I stay ready, never take day off. Train for the action, it's payoff. Deliver that straight, no mailbox. First class talk out, top tier walk out. Back in my chat. These dark roads, I navigate that. Seminar parts, graduate facts.
Thank you. Thank you to the local scene for having me. This is the Big Lots. This is, I think... Thanks to Dan in the booth. All right. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for helping out. And I think this used to be the old toy section here on Big Lots. They always had the weirdest toys. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. Oh, so I was thinking about this the other day. DJs are a weird bunch, you know? There's no real uniform. Like, I saw one DJ, he was wearing a cooking apron, you know? And I'm like, is he also the chef? What's going on there? Is that where he keeps all of his equipment? You know, his little DJ equipment? Does he keep some of his equipment in there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on. Then there's this DJ that has this big bulbous head, you know, like a costume head. And it's like, you know, little kids are afraid of that. And that wipes out like half your business right there if you're a DJ. No. Gotta think of that. Is the one with the big bulbous head, is that Bad Bunny? I don't know. I'm not really sure. Don't know. I just know my mom would try to get him for my birthday, and she'd be all like, well, we couldn't get Bad Bunny for your birthday, so we got Naughty Bunny. Okay, is that good? That's something she would do. And then like the DJ would like start stripping, you know? Oh no, why? And I know if like my gram was there, she's very Catholic. I know she'd be like, let's just see where this goes. Let's just see what happens here. I think he's going to show us his cottontail next. I don't know, something like that. And I remember one birthday, she said, I got you guys a clown. And we were all like, you know, he doesn't even have any makeup on, you know? He doesn't seem very funny. He's just shouting at us. That's not a good clown. And it turns out he was a retired boxer that my gram was dating. Yeah. And I don't know. He was the entertainment. And I was like, wait, Graham's dating this guy? Graham's not supposed to date. She's supposed to go to church and go home and babysit us, and that's it. That's all Graham's supposed to do. We finally did get rid of him somehow. They realized it wasn't working out. But not before he touched the presents, okay, touched the cake, and touched Graham. Oh, didn't touch Graham. What kind of clown is this? So finally, Grandpa says, I had enough. Let's go, guy. And I remember one of the little kids there in the back of the party was like, knock him out! Knock him out! Yeah. We all picked up a little something that day. The rope-a-dope, sting like a bee. What else did we pick up that day? Oh, yeah, Grandpa's teeth. Yeah. And sometimes my mom still brings it up like it's a fond family memory. Like, remember when that boxer came to your birthday? Yeah, I remember that. He might have been a boxer, but like in the 1940s, you know? I think he was on the cover of the first issue of Sports Illustrated. Yeah, I think that's who it was. I think he lost a good portion of his career to World War II. But which side was he on? Which side was he on? I think there's an old aluminum sign of him advertising for Coca-Cola. Hey kids, do you want to be big and strong like me? Well, when you go for your weekly soda pop, try Coca-Cola. It's the one in the glass bottle in your pharmacist's freezer. When I was a kid, I should have asked my mom, Mom, for my next birthday, could you get like Marilyn Monroe and Elvis to come? That'd be great. That's what every kid wants. And my brother's birthday is like a month after mine. And be like, who's coming to Kev's birthday? And she'd be like, well, for his theme, he's going to have a Betty Boop themed sock hop. And we were all like, what do any of those words mean? Then I said, I know what I'll get him. I saw this uranium kit advertised in the newspaper for a nickel. That's what I'm going to get him for his birthday. And when we were kids, we would go to this variety store, and they sold candy, baseball cards, comic books. And I always be in there buying baseball cards or those little packs of stickers, to fill out my football yearbook with stickers, football sticker yearbook. Yeah. And the lady behind the counter, which I found out later, was always coked out of her mind because of doing coke out back. And she would pick out the packs for you. She's like, oh, how many do you want today? Let me see. And she'd always dig deep for the packs, Oh, not this one. Nah. This one. No. This one. Yeah. How many more you want, huh? 9 more? Okay. This one. No. Not that one. This one. Let me feel. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. And looking back, I think we were the best part of her day, I think her best part was, she probably sat there, doing coke, being like, oh, I hope those kids come in and I can pick out their packs for them. Something like that. I just know it. If you're watching this and you grew up next to me, near me, you probably know who I'm talking. You know that lady. And I remember sometimes I'd get a pack and it was all doubles. It was all the ones I already had, and I remember blaming that lady for that. Boy, she picked me a wrong pack. Boy, I should go back there and get my 40 cents back. And that lady, coincidentally reminded me of that ex-boxer at my birthday. He was the same way. He was always like, which present do you want to open next? Not this one. No, not that one. How about this one? No, wait. How about this one? Yes, this one next. How about that? Yeah. She wasn't the only one that worked there, too. There was a son there, and he had really bad acne. And I asked my mom, what happened to his face? What is that? What is all over his face? I remember Mom saying, well, you know how when you get out of the tub, always dry your face first and work your way down. Okay? He didn't do that. He dries his feet first, then his crotch, then his butt, then his face. Okay? And that's what happened. And to this day, I still do it that way. And I asked my mom once, do you really think the son at the variety store takes baths? Well, I don't know. Maybe not. There we go. We're still good. The other night we were watching the Food Network Tournament of Champions, and my wife was like, we should try to make that, And I'm like, babe, we can't. This is Tournament of Champions, all right? They should have that disclaimer like before professional wrestling, please do not try this at home. These are professionals, I don't see someone getting thunderplexed and ask her, honey, we should try that. I don't ask her to give me a DDT on the breakfast bar, And she's like, grilled okra, grilled okra. And I'm like, okay, I got one of those words, you know. I don't ask her, hey, you should give me the Rhea Ripley Riptide, you know. And she'd be like, oh, that's Rhea's finisher? Because she watches too, you know. So we reached a compromise. Next time we get some okra, we're going to try and grill it. And the next time we're at a function, I'm going to give her the razor's edge into the wedding cake. Then I'll take the toothpick out of the okra and flick it at her. Just like that. Those are Ramona references, you know. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. So you guys watching Summer House? A couple episodes ago on Summer House, Paige was trying to say that she got rage text from Kyle. And I was like, as a Bravo fan, you know, we should be so lucky. Then I was thinking, that would make a great cameo, you know? Kyle could rage text you on your birthday. You know, how would that go? Like, hey, man, I can't believe you're not serving lover boy at your birthday, man. Oh, I thought we were better friends than that. Now my wife Amanda's mad at me. But, hun, he's being a total douchebag not having Loverboy at his birthday. Oh, well, whatever. Have your moment. You're being two-faced. Nobody understands how hard I work on these cameos. Well, anyways, happy birthday. Love, Kyle and Amanda. Try Loverboy. We have a new non-alc seltzer. Bye. Yeah, something like that. I'd pay $200 for that. Oh, yeah. And then in another episode, Paige was saying she's having a podcast tour. You know, I guess she does a podcast. That's good. And I was thinking, like, asking, what would that be like? You know, you just go there. Everyone's in a big theater, you know, looking at the stage. And then they wheel out a bed, and then Paige comes out and just lays in the bed and plays on her phone. Brilliant. Genius. I'd go see that. Maybe I should do that. Yeah, I'm sure it was fantastic. The other day, my phone rang, and it said, suspected spam. And I'm like, it's just like spam, you know? Only spam can be a food and also be a phone call, you know? So spam. You never get, like, suspected pizza, you know? Okay, what do you want to know? How do I get this pizza, you know? What do you want, my date of birth? What do you want to know? Yeah. So I told you to stop calling me spam, you know? You know, I tried you once. It's just not going to work out. First of all, spam, you're sus. You're a sussy baka. You really are. You know, maybe down the line, you go on sale like $1. Maybe I'll try you again. All right? Is that a compromise? But you got to stop calling me. Did I tell you I'm married? I'm cooking for 2 now. Sheesh, spam. Stop bothering me. Get off my pan. Thanks. I tried helping this coworker look for an email, and she said, oh, can you check my spam? And I went, what? Spam? Spam's now showing up at my work? This is getting out of control. This is kind of funny. The other day, I bought the person behind me's coffee, you know, and then I thought when they got it, I decided I'd wink. So, and something flew in my eye, and I just held the wink really too long, like, you know, and then for no reason, I let out an "arr," you know. Probably shouldn't have done that. It might have worked if the person likes pirates. But people who like pirates are usually a lot younger, and then that's creepy, so you don't want to do that. And then she said, well, my dad's a pirate. And then, you know, it worked. The whole thing worked. Pickup line worked. Then I blew the whole thing, and I was like, wait, is he a butt pirate? Just want to make sure. And that just ruined the whole thing. And then it got awkward. Yeah. I know a lot of comedians use this sort of material, but why didn't Cinderella's glass slipper disappear at the stroke of midnight? You know? I was kind of thinking about this week. Yeah. You know, it was all of her stuff, but not her accessories? If that's the fact, then why didn't she keep her accessories, like her jewelry, you know, and then hawk the jewelry and get out of living with her wicked stepmother? You know, easy peasy. Or did the spell not reverse anything that was left behind? You know, and in that case, leave the tiara behind and come back the next day and then live off the money off the tiara, you know? I mean, probably could got a lot of money for that tiara. I don't know. You know, a couple donkeys at least, something. Then the prince was like, you know, he has the glass slipper, okay? And he's looking for her, you know? And why even try it on the wicked stepsisters? You know what I mean? It's a glass slipper, ma'am. It's not a jelly slipper. You can't just wedge your foot in there. You know, also when I say jelly slipper, you can't eat it. You can't eat it. So, and these wicked stepsisters, okay, they're like 4s, and Cinderella's like a 10, you know? And I'm not talking shoe sizes. No. And also, Cinderella's a Disney 10, okay? You know, a Middle Ages 10, definitely. Let's not get too carried away here. She's not Elsa. And the prince, he has to be smart. He's got to know that he's never seen anyone that fine walking around the kingdom, you know? She's got to be locked up in a dungeon somewhere. I should know. I'm the prince, you know? I literally just thirst and slay all day. That's literally all I do. You know, he's got to know he hasn't seen her around. And I was thinking, you know, imagine if someone did that today. Like how would that even work? Okay, I got Florence Few's feet pics from online, and anyone's foot who matches this, I'll marry them. All right? And it's all about a foot, you know? Like, that's pretty scandalous even for today. Like, why don't they go for, like, the more traditional? Yes, here on Kingdom News, we have this just breaking. The prince is downtown with a bra fitting. Anyone who fits into this bra shall thee be wed. You know? Get the peasants all in an uproar, you know? Then when they interview the prince at the end of the day, he's like, oh, thanks to all the ladies who tried out. We do not have a match. My cup hath runneth over with your generosity. Yeah, something like that. And then there's like one female farmhand in the back, and she goes, knock 'em out! She's tough. And the prince retorts, very well, very nice try today, farm girl, but we can see the stitch marks left by Dr. Frankenstein on those attached cow teats. And then he just like points at her and goes, monster! And then like the townspeople go after her with like pitchforks, you know. And then there's one guy like, and he's like, does she like pirates? I have some nice coffee on my boat, back on the boat. Should get an eye patch for that joke. I don't know. So I had another thought, like totally different thing. This. I never tried serial killing, you know, because word just travels too fast these days, you know. And you could tell people, you know, they'd be like, oh, Greg's a serial killer. And I'd be like, that's fake news. That's fake news, you know, try to cover. But that's not me. That's a different Greg. And then you see on Facebook, like a friend's post, I went out with this guy, and at the end of the date, he killed me. So then you're like, well, if he killed you, how are you posting this? Ghost book. She's a ghost now. She's posting on Ghost Book, which links back to her real life Facebook. I don't know, something like that. And then this is another idea. Just start Googling how long does it take to kill somebody, That way, when you're in court and the judge says, on the night of the murder, you Googled how long does it take to kill somebody? And then you could say, well, to be fair, I Google that every night at 7 o'clock. Just check my history. Alibi. And I heard this stat once. In the 80s, at any one given time, there was like 8 to 20 serial killers working in the U.S. So there was like a fantasy league of serial killers out there. Does FanDuel know about this? Wait, is that how FanDuel got its name? And then the judge says, okay, we see that on the night of the murder, you placed a bet on FanDuel saying that Karen would die that night. Well, if I may, Your Honor, I make that bet every night that Karen will die on FanDuel. I just hate her so much. So I have an idea for serial killers. Hitchhike. All right, pretty basic, right? Wearing the shirt. Hitchhike wearing the shirt of a nearby store, like you just got off your shift at Target or Stop and Shop. So you pick up the serial killer, and he's wearing the shirt, so you think it's safe, right? So you pick up the serial killer and you go, hey, and maybe he's on the passenger side. Hey, long shift tonight, and he goes, no, I don't even work there. I'm a serial killer. Ha! Stab, right? And then he stabs you, right? And you're like, oh man, well, I thought I didn't recognize you from working at that store. I should have known. But then you quickly grab the knife and stab him and say, ha, I'm a serial killer. I pick up people at the end of their shifts because I find that their will to live is at an all-time low at that point. Easy prey. Double-crossed. And now I'm going to dump your body in that store's dumpster as my calling card. And so then he dies. You know what he does is he immediately goes to Ghostbook. You know, watch out for this guy who picks up people after their shifts at Stop and Shop. You know, totally outs me. Pretty bluebird on my shoulder. That's the creepy song I sing when I kill him. And then I'm sitting at home watching the news, you know, like I do. And it says, the news is like, some people are calling him the Red Bird Killer. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, damn it, it's a bluebird. It's the Bluebird Killer, damn it. And I was thinking, what if there was a DJ for a dentist's office, you know? This lady, she's obviously from the 60s. She loves the Beatles. She's getting some work done. This guy's a 90s. He obviously loves Nirvana. We'll play that for him. And this guy here, he likes Bluebird on my shoulder. Oh, everybody out. The serial killer, he's in here. He's in the office. And then it like cuts to the serial killer stabbing a tech with the pick. And he's like, do you know why they call me the Red Bird Killer? And with her last breath, she's like, that was never clear to me because the song says Bluebird. Well, that's because the bluebird is covered in blood. And coming to a theater near you, Red Bird Killer opens March 21st. Turns out we were stuck in a horror film this whole time. And the girl who went on Ghostbook will be played by Florence Pugh, uncredited. Yeah, you gotta have some bait at the beginning, you know? And the Red Bird Killer is gonna be played by none other than, you guessed it, Kingston's own Chris Cooper. Yes. Very creepy killer. And I'm gonna be in the background as a guy who's just getting some dental work done, you know? Hope to see you there. Thanks, Plymouth. Good night. Thanks, Big Lots. Thanks, Big Lots.
else to see. There's nothing like you see. Everything ain't what it seems. Whoa, 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 whoa. Them man never been ready for the chaos. I stay ready, never take day off. Train for the action, it's payoff. Deliver that straight, no mailbox. First class talker, top tier walker, back in my chat. These dark roads, I navigate that. Seminar parts, graduate facts. So I rise up to the madness. No time for the anxious.
Thanks. Oh, good times, you know. Back in Plymouth, still here, still doing it. Big Lots is no longer around. Sorry about that. You know, I tried to go to Big Lots all the time, and I was like, can I just make this a regular place where I shop? No, I can't. I can't do it. Sorry. The prices were too crazy, you know? I hate to rag on you when you're down Big Lots, but you know what I mean? So I remember I wanted to get this one time I went in there. They had Guardians of the Galaxy cereal. And I think I've mentioned it before, but what the hell does that taste like? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It looked like Kix with purple paint on it. I don't know. I went in there. I just bought that. I went to the counter and I was like, okay, if I could come into Big Lots and just buy the one box of cereal every now and then, I guess that would help them out. I don't know. Turns out it wasn't enough. I think where they really went wrong was when they bought a pallet of, I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy cereal. That might have been their first mistake. Oh. And they would always be like, oh, do you have a secret shopper number with us? You know, like, yeah, try my phone number, I guess. And then for days, you'd just get emails, $5 off at Big Lots, $5 off at... And it's like, well... You know, if everything wasn't $5 too much there, I'd just start off at a good point. We'd be all set. I'd run back in there. I remember this one thing. It's like they were if you spent 15, if you bought anything and you donated to their charity. I don't know what it was, like the roof charity. I don't know, keep the roof over the Big Lots. I don't know. It was like, yeah, I'll donate $1. They would give you a coupon for $5 off your next purchase of $10. And like, so where's your margin, Big Lots? You're losing it. You know, it's a math joke. I don't know. I tried to be nice, but I'm gonna miss the place. You know, I'm gonna miss that like kind of low quality furniture, but at a good price. You know what I mean? If you're doing your college dorm or whatever, you could probably get away with some Big Lots. Till next time, Plymouth, keep on shopping. I think there's a few stores still around. We'll see you out there. Thanks.